Our advertisers help sponsor our content so we can keep bringing it to you for free. Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, do not necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you prefer to hear the show completely ad-free, head on over to patreon.com/pinkshademonkeys and subscribe. Hey y'all, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Mary Payne and it's Bravo Breakdown Day. I have got my friend Deanna Cheng here to talk about Ultimate Girls Trip Season 3, Episode 4, Dangerous Games, and just Bravo in general. How you doing, Deanna?
Hi, Mary. How are you? I'm good.
All right, Deanna, the listeners go crazy when people call me Mary because you know I go by Mary Payne. And I know it's hard if you're not from the South. It's hard to wrap your brain around the double name. I get it.
No, it's my bad, first of all, and my deepest apologies. And I am getting myself sorted. Do you know what I mean? I'm like really regrouping in this moment, and I'm with it, and I'm coming correct going forward, Mary Payne.
Okay. It's as if you had two names, Deanna, right?
Right.
But it's not. It's one word. It's one word.
It's one thought, one idea.
Yeah. Whenever anybody calls me Mary, I don't care. I mean, I kind of care, but I don't fully care. And it'll be so many comments. I'm like, you guys, it's okay. If I don't care, why do you care? It's okay.
Listen, they have your back. There's right and there's wrong.
Okay.
And it's just that simple. They're looking out for you. And at the end of the day, they'd be looking out for me. It's like, I'm not looking to be out in these streets running around with a Mary. Like, it's wrong, so I get it.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, we were talking before we started about kind of what we're watching on Bravo. And I am not caught up on Jersey because it just happened last night or 2 days ago when we record, when this will come out. And I haven't had a chance to watch it. I do know that I did hear some talk about whoever was on Watch What Happens Live last night and some of this and some of that. And you're saying that Jen Aiden's out there like being mean to Melissa, saying she shouldn't have been invited to the wedding and Teresa only did it out of pity. And they're in Ireland now. Yeah,
they're in Ireland. It's fun to have them in Ireland. I'm enjoying that. They're in a castle. I love that Dolores had to have like a sit down with everyone and tell them they're not in Jersey. You're in a castle. Act right, which I appreciated.
Yes. Good.
Because
that's needed.
Yeah, they're not great. I was thinking about that on this Thailand trip too. They just don't do well when anything is out of the ordinary. Like, they like their finer things.
Yes.
Air conditioning, They want modern. I guess that's it. Not even finer, modern. So if they're asked to like cook their own meats or, run around a castle that has drafts and old art, they're just not going to appreciate that. They want a modern situation.
Yes, I hearken back to when Ramona went to the Berkshires and stayed at Heather Holla, whatever her last name is, Heather Thompson, and she ordered her own air conditioner to be delivered by Amazon or whoever because she couldn't take it.
That was a classic episode. We got so much from Ramona that episode. Wow.
Helicoptered really right out of there. Yeah.
But wait, it wasn't the Berkshires though, was it? Or was it?
Yes, because Heather Thompson has a place in the Berkshires.
Okay. Oh, you know where my head just went? Prague. Not Prague. I'm so sorry.
Prague.
No. Take that away.
Okay.
It was that someone is going to listen to this and be screaming. It was when that new gal came in. She was a one-seasoner, and it was the whole episode. It sounds like Prague, but it's like Quag. They went to like Quag. They went to like Quag out on Long Island. Something, I'm saying it wrong, but it was something.
Okay, was it Cindy Barshop?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Yeah, okay, Cindy Barshop with the vagina waxing place. Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah. And she took these housewives to like, and again, people are screaming it out loud, Quag or something
but
like
it was
that.
In the United States?
I think it was in Long Island, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Or
It
somewhere
does not. It
in New
doesn't.
York.
It's not sparking with me, so
It's not
I don't
sparking
remember.
either. Back to your thought and your question. She didn't. What Jennifer said was she wasn't necessarily, I think she was coming from an honest place. I don't think she was trying to be mean. She just blurted out because they were discussing Bridesmaids and someone asked Melissa, I believe, if she would be upset. If she was upset because the other girls, Dolores and Jennifer, were just asked to be bridesmaids, is she upset? And then she just sort of blurted out, well, you were invited out of obligation. So is that
true? She irritates
true?
me. She irritates me.
Sure.
No, that's not true because Joe, at the end of the day, is her brother, so he's going to be invited to her wedding.
But what about Melissa?
Well, they're married, so they're a team. I'm sorry. And listen, at the end of the day, we know they don't go. We don't know really why or what or how we're going to get there. All I know is that housewives at this moment are no longer allowed to be on podcast from Jersey because I had something set up with one and then was told like they have now been put on the lockdown for the speaking on the podcast until after the reunion.
Well, look at, I just watched that clip of Andy on his Radio Andy show. I'm like, Daddy's mad. He is so pissed about that Howie Mandel interview with Scandoval. Did you see that?
I have seen the clips of it because I don't need to watch the whole thing. But it's so crazy how this came about that literally Sandoval's drummer's wife is the producer for that show. I mean, that's how you get it. But the fact that Howie Mandel did not even watch one episode or know who any of these people were, and just think about all the amazing Bravo podcasters and journalists and people that could have really asked him. Maybe somebody could have even been a little sympathetic. Me, Casey and Danielle, your friends. I mean, we've got lots of Bravo podcasts.
We have
Ben and Ronnie. We have people that could ask the real questions. And there might be some out there that could even be slightly sympathetic to him.
Sure.
Give him a chance to speak his piece. But no, he goes on Howie Mandel because it's a huge, well-known podcast, I guess. I mean, who knows? But I guess because it's a famous person. But yeah, apparently, what did Andy say this morning? He said, I heard about this last week and I was not happy. And I'm still not happy.
It was interesting because it was a clip I saw on Instagram on the Radio Andy feed.
I listened to it this morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you did. So it just seemed like he was trying not to be like, I'm pissed and I'm like livid. Yeah. But ultimately he feels like that stepped on the reunion's toes. And I think he's right.
Right.
I mean, I'm surprised.
Well, John Hill asked him, like, aren't they contractually bound not to do that?
Right.
And he was like, pretty much, yeah, they are. And I found out about this last week, like before he even did it. And I said it wasn't a good idea. And then I heard it came out this morning and it's not great. He's like, but, I feel pretty confident about what you're going to see at the reunion, blah, blah, blah. So probably Sandoval was like, if I could get my story out before the reunion, I was like, well, because everybody else is talking,
what's so funny? Hearing a bit of the actual episode, I did not get the sense that he had any I think you have to be right? Like he had to do it with a plan, but I wonder if he didn't. I wonder if you know what I'm saying? Like I wonder if he was like, oh, Howie Mandel is a big deal.
Yeah.
And he likes me and he's saying that he's totally on my side. And he didn't think much further than that.
Right. Because if it's his drummer's wife's is the producer.
Is the producer of the show. Yeah.
So they have a vested interest in keeping Tom Sandoval happy because he is their employer, basically, if he's the lead singer of the band or whatnot. So they're like, oh, let me find a puff person that will make you look good. Yeah, Sandoval, you're the best. You're the best. I mean, I can't imagine what shit Howie Mandel has been getting for that.
Well, I mean, it's like he just opened his door to a world that he has. It's just insane. He has no idea what it is.
You're right.
Of course, it doesn't seem like a big deal to him because they're not married. He's doing some math that we're not doing because it's not our math. You know,
yes.
We are upset. And we're going to stay.
He's believing what Scandoval says, which I believe on that interview, Scandoval says, like, I broke up with her on Valentine's Day, but like she wouldn't accept the breakup. So we never broke up. And then I was going to take her to therapy to break up. But then there was a mudslide or something. So like, so you said you broke up with her in February, but now you're saying you're trying to take her to therapy to break up, but you already broke up with her. So which is it? And then also your affair with Rachel started July, August. So July, August, all the way to February. I mean, that's not great. I don't care if you haven't had sex with her in 3 years. That has nothing to do with the way you handled it. Nothing.
That is not our problem. That is, we don't care about that. That is not on our book. We're not checking that off. That gives you no credits. Sorry.
That's what he's trying to say, though. It's like, oh, I was lonely. And then somebody pointed out, I think it was Andy and John this morning pointed out that Sandoval said on that interview with Howie Mandel that Ariana always made him feel like he was so dumb. Well, compared to Ariana, you are dumb.
You are dumb.
And he said, so that's why he likes Rachel, is because she makes you feel smart.
She makes us all feel smart. I'll tell you that much right now.
Yeah, I think it was Smith Sisters that said that, actually. They're on before Andy, the Smith Sisters. I listen to Radio Andy all morning, like while I'm doing about the house. So I'm always caught up on my hot goss.
Yeah.
Now, are you have any interest in going to BravoCon? Because I've already booked my room.
Well, first of all, God bless. Mary Payne, I love that about you. My interest was peaked last night because usually it's in New York. And I'm in LA, so that's more of a schlep.
Yes.
What I like about Vegas is, you can bop over and bop back. Like it doesn't need to be, it could be a 1-day thing on my end.
If you're in LA, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm interested. My interest is peaked.
I went last year in New York because New York is just a bop for me.
Right.
Vegas is a 5-hour plane ride. I may as well go to Paris. But
well, you can. That's the great news. While you're there, you can. You just stay at that great hotel. You're right in Paris.
Right in Paris. And we could go to Vanderpump Paris and see Oliver with his face tattoo as your waiter.
He is me, he's very cute. I understand what the problem is.
I get it. I don't enjoy a face tattoo, but I could overlook it.
You know what? I have accepted it fully accepted the face tattoo. I don't think I even see it. Like, I'm like, it's really part of the fabric. I've accepted it.
Okay. It's something. It's a choice. Well, so right when we heard about it, Ingrid and I, who's my producer, we immediately booked our rooms, and she found like a better deal at this one. So she's like, the Link Hotel is also involved, but they're across the street from Caesar's Palace. I was like, got it. If it's cheaper, that's where we're going. So we're doing that. That's where we're staying, and we're going to try to have
to have a little breathing room,
a little distance.
Do you know what I mean?
Rather than seeing the drunkards in the hall. Yeah.
It just might be nice to be able to walk across, I think, potentially.
Yeah. In New York, of course, there was no hotel that was assigned to it. It was just free for all. So we were like really far away and at whatever cheapest hotel we could find on our points or whatever. But this is pretty inexpensive. And I think that is a point that Andy did make, was that Vegas is not more centrally located, of course, but it is better in the sense that there are so many hotels, and you can really stay there for super cheap if you want to. So because in New York you really can't. There's no way.
Right.
There's no way, and it takes forever to get anywhere. Like you're like, oh, we have to be there in an hour. We should leave 2 hours ago. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm excited about that, and the minute the tickets come out, I'll be sitting on my computer like I'm getting Taylor Swift tickets like a crazy person.
Well, it is incredible. I mean, I feel like Bravo, there's not a con in the world that I would want to go to, but BravoCon, obviously, because I just don't, but that is fun. And it's exciting because I think they'll probably be able to like take over the city for the weekend fully, you know?
I've never been to Vegas in my life. Can you
Oh my
believe that?
gosh.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like so you're going to go with your producer
Yeah, and she's been a lot, not because she loves Vegas, but just like
for
with her
work.
husband's had to go or she's
Yeah.
had to go for work or whatever. So she's been a lot, so she'll be my guide.
Yeah. I have never like loved Vegas past one night. You know,
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
it's a strange place, and I think for me, I'm very sensitive, you know, so I
Mhm.
feel the underbelly of
Mm.
the sadness, and
Mm.
with that, oh my God, Mary, I'm so sorry to do this, Payne, so sorry, but but with a Bravo takeover,
Mhm.
that's a different story, you know?
It's nothing but happy people with a shared interest.
That's right.
That
That's
yeah.
fun to me. That's like that is really sounds like a good time.
That was my experience. It was just nothing but happy people with a shared experience, and I walked around with my pink shade shirt on, and
Good.
if anybody said, like, "I know your podcast," I would stop them, and if they didn't know my podcast, if I was just standing in line to get a drink or whatnot, I would then try to convert them and tell them I had a secret piece of information that I would give them if they would follow me on Instagram. That
Oh, you're good.
mhm.
This is clever. Okay.
That was good.
This is a write-off. You're
Yeah.
working, baby girl. You are working.
Yeah, it's a write-off.
Yeah.
I've already told producer Ingrid, "Send me that bill for this hotel room." I'm gonna write that off.
Yeah. Yeah, we're writing that off.
Were you a fan of Schitt's Creek?
You know, I've only watched it's no, I haven't watched it.
Okay. Well, you would love it.
I
You would love
It's
it. I'm
weird
sure
that I
everyone's told you
haven't.
that.
I don't know why. I'll get there. I will.
It is a great show, but there's a very kind of famous scene in it where Eugene Levy's son, whose name just went out of my mind, cute. Hmm. It'll come to me in a second.
Jonathan? No.
Nope. It'll come to me in a second. As I'm talking,
Quag?
it'll come to me.
Quag Levy?
It's Quag. It's Quag Levy.
Quad Levy.
He's the he's the star and he's the writer and
Yes.
everything. He's the
Yes.
creator, and he is saying, because he's opened this new store and he bought all this stuff. His dad comes in, and's like, "How did you afford all this stuff for the store?" He goes, "Oh, I just got it because it's a write off." And his dad goes, "Right, but how'd you pay for it?" He goes, "I don't know. It's a write off." He's like, "But how did you pay for it?" He was like, "It's a write off and the government pays you." And they go back and forth. He was like, "But how did you pay for it?" He's like, "The government's going to pay me for it." He's like, "Oh no. It's not,
Deep
it's not how it
confusion.
works." It's
Right.
deep
It's a
confusion.
little bit of a deep confusion.
So whenever we say write off, I think of that like it's a write
That's
off. Like
cute.
you don't
Yeah.
understand how that works. I say that to my husband all the time. I'm like, it's a write off. He's like, everything is not a write off. All right, let's get into our show that we're here to discuss.
Okay.
Ultimate Girls Trip. Okay, so I assume you were a fan of seasons 1 and 2.
Of course.
Okay. Season 2, I think, will go down in history. Bluestone Manor, Escape from Bluestone Manor. Like, yeah, it was like a Yellow Jackets episode. Like everyone was terrified all the time. Yeah.
It was a lot. We were at a 10 the whole
Mhm.
time.
The
Yeah.
whole time.
The whole time.
So this feels a little bit more like the season 1, which is at a resort, kind of a home. It's gorgeous. And it feels that way, except for Ingrid looked up on the first episode we did. Ingrid looked up, I think that the average from when they were there, we figured out the time because of the Jen Shaw. We figured out the exact time they were there.
Oh,
And
good.
traveled, it's like 2 days, all this. The average temperature there is like 94 with 100% humidity.
Mm.
So the fact that they are so sweaty and miserable, I feel that. I feel that sweat on my face. Then think of that they're trying to wear all that makeup all the time.
Mm.
Think about how hot they are.
That is one thing Leah has got right. She's got a lot wrong. But she is not wearing a stitch of makeup, and it's serving her because she looks nice.
No wig, nothing, no clothes really.
No.
Yeah.
You really need to be a natural girl in these temperatures.
Yes. You have to be. You don't have a choice. So it's rough. Now, are you a fan of Real Housewives of Miami?
Yes. I loved this season, and I can't believe how much, that's why the Ultimate Girls Trips are just fascinating because you see different layers, and we're learning different things. We're pulling back the wall on a certain thing, pulling back the curtain, and you get to feel into people in a different way. And I feel like Alexia is I'm enjoying her on this ride. Yeah, whereas I had a really hard time with her on her season last season.
Okay.
So it's interesting, you know, but yes, I'm enjoying the Miami girls on this trip, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something that's going to be shocking and upsetting, but I've never watched one episode of Miami.
Interesting.
I've watched.
That's your Schitt's Creek. You have it. It's there for you. You will get it.
I've also never watched an episode of Lost, and I'm tired of people shaming me for that as well. But but the Miami is just because I never watched it in the beginning. So then when it came back, everybody talked about how great it was, and because I'm working so much, I was like, who has time to watch anything for fun? Right. So I don't. But because I'm going out of town at beginning of May, and I'm going to actually try to take a few days off, I'm going to load up that Miami, and I'm going to get started. I'm going to get in because I freaking love Marisol and her just her brazen alcoholism. She doesn't care.
Oh man. I mean, you're getting it kind of, everybody who has watched we finished the season, we have a little bit of alcoholism fatigue from Marisol. Okay. We are also pickled from the experience of Marisol and her drinking. Okay. So, you know, am I deeply concerned? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
You're coming in at I actually envy your entry point because you're able to enjoy it sort of freely.
Yes. Now, Marisol, one of our bunkies, as our listeners, wrote her on Instagram and said I recently had a bad stomach ulcer as well. I really feel for you. That must have been hard to be on this trip and then be told you have an ulcer or whatever. She literally wrote the person back, complete stranger, and said, oh no, it's not an ulcer. It was from drinking.
I can't.
So I said to the listener who wrote me this, I said, are you friends with her? Do you know her? Are you from Miami? She goes, no. Just as a fan. I wrote her and she wrote me right back. It's dying. Funny. So funny.
You know, I mean, there is something to being just firmly in your truth, you know, and walking your path. And she certainly is.
She says, no one's told me I have to quit, so I don't. I was like, it's not really always how that works, but all right.
I
know. So this is episode 4, Dangerous Games. So we open with Pepsi going in Marisol and Alexia's room, and he says, today's Portia's day. They're going to have a Thai barbecue. And and this is when we see this trope of Marisol and Alexia are like, Pepsi, our room is dirty. Please get it cleaned. And he says, absolutely. But by the end of the day, it's no. So now we see Giselle and Portia walking to breakfast. And Giselle says, oh, gosh, last night we were drunk and we all got in the pool. And Portia's like, oh, were you showing your titties? And she says, no, nobody was skinny dipping. And Portia goes, the white girls on their shows, they just always have their titties out, which really is true. I mean, you think about like
white girls love their titties out. They do. Totally I mean, titties, if you listen, these are the facts of the matter.
I mean, Portia calls it like she sees it. And so Giselle's like, oh, well, these are not the white girls. These are the white black girls. It was Marisol and Alexia. And I was like, and they just laugh and laugh on the way to breakfast. So now we see Candiace and Leah talking. And Leah says, of all the years Giselle has been on TV, she's done way worse than just saying she's bored at dinner. And then talking head, we see Candiace. She's like, I'm so exhausted with this fighting already. The only difference between our lives and soap operas is we don't have a script and we don't get Emmys. We deserve an Emmy. and then did you enjoy this montage of Days of Our Wives with all the women with their hair blowing back like they were on Days of Our Lives?
I thought it was cute. I liked it.
It was cute.
And that's the kind of stuff they can do. I feel like on the production can do on the Ultimate Girls Trip, and it's cute. I like it.
I think it was really cute. And I liked it that Portia was the last one and she did like a dramatic look. It was hilarious. So they're all like in their confessional looks. They didn't even try to change clothes. They're like, okay. So
just give it,
They all sit down to eat breakfast and Heather says, oh, Leah, I just saw your text. I'm so sorry you have the runs. It's like, this is not breakfast conversation.
I am. I'm so
and Leah
upset.
Leah's like, yeah, I must have eaten something. And also I'm having my monthly friend. And Marisol, again, like she did last episode, goes, well, thank God I don't have to see her anymore. And Leah sounds like, well, that sounds liberating. I loved last week when Marisol was like, Who has a period? That's so 1980. Gross. I love her. I love her.
She's doing great. And I'm aligned with her fully, you know.
I love her.
Like, I hate Leah needs to be checked.
So Heather asked Leah, how are you? How are you feeling since everything happened yesterday, you know, with the argument between you and Whitney? And Heather's like, I put it in a box. Mormons are great at that. I'm just going to like put it in a box and I think about it. But you know, Heather says what Whitney is doing is irreparable damage to our relationship. I am already so sick of these two. It's giving me Teresa and Melissa vibes. I'm over it. And we're going to have the whole episode of it. And I'm so over it. I'm over it.
It's really hard, you know. I don't know if you've dealt with this yet or not, but I just feel like I'm going through so much with Heather because I liked her so much, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the biggest problems with her and Whitney's completely over her skis and out of her depth. She is not able to perform. Like, she's honestly, it's not working out in a very major way for her on this show. She's really not even participating because whenever she does, people shut her down. So like Whitney is just like you're saying, everyone's over it. So the problem, I think, with Heather strongly and a little bit with Whitney is that they're coming in as fans.
Right. Totally.
And that is a major problem because
but they've been on like 3 seasons now. So they should not be fans anymore. Consider yourself equal, you know?
But even there's people who will come like a first season show. I mean, I would say this, Dubai, they would not act like fans, you know, in a show like this because you need a level of delusion and sort of narcissism that we need them spinning in their own minds, spinning in their own worlds. That's a housewife.
Yes. You're right.
I think Heather's sitting outside of the experience, and so is Whitney, and they're trying to insert themselves, and they're excited when like housewives are paying attention to them, and it's just not working out.
Yeah. Can you imagine they go on the trip and like Portia's there, like such an all-star? I mean, you know. So Portia walks in and tells them, you know, they were supposed to do this because of the weather. They're going to have massages and games. It's going to be like team building. And Candiace and Whitney are still not there yet. So now we see Whitney on the phone talking to our queen, Lisa Barlow. And Whitney says, God, you know, Heather keeps saying that I'm doing everything for the show. I mean, that's like totally hurt me that she said that. But I mean, it's like, why? I just said, why are you writing a book about not being a Mormon, but you're still a Mormon, you're still in the church? And Lisa Barlow's like, well, she's hurt because she got caught in a lie. She's being exposed. And Whitney says, what I'm realizing now is that because Heather recommended me for the show, I didn't realize that I was giving her all this loyalty, but she and I built a relationship built on mutual disdain for you, Lisa Barlow, and other people. And we've created a real bond, but I didn't realize that I'm realizing now that I don't owe her this blind loyalty. And then she tells Lisa, like, it was this crazy busy day. It was a hard day. And Lisa goes, stick to your truth. Just to like sit in your truth. You'll be fine. You'll be okay. Our lives will be exposed. So Portia is down there. She's talking to Heather. And she goes, I think that, you know, you all can just move past this stuff because you guys are blood. And, you know, she said for 15 years she tried to get her name off that Mormon roll. But how long has it been since you applied to get your name off the roll? And Heather goes, I haven't applied. It doesn't mean anything to me. My heart doesn't go there. My money doesn't go there. It's just a database. And Portia goes, yesterday you said you were trying to get your name removed off the roll. And Heather goes, well, I mean, yeah, eventually I am going to try. And you're talking, and Portia goes, I don't know what to believe because yesterday that list was super important to her. And today you haven't even started the process. Girl, you're a bad liar, not a bad Mormon. And it's interesting that these other ladies are catching them in these lies like in real time.
Yes.
And they don't even know them, you know? It's interesting.
Yeah. The girl, they're, and the stakes are very different. The Mormon, you know, even for, it's so funny for Portia to even be in this Mormon role, it's like hilarious. But the stakes are so different for them outside of Utah. Like when you're with the other women who know the minutia of the Mormon journey, it tracks. But you take that out and you put it with people who like, oh, you either go to church or you don't go to church. I mean, that's like a choice, and you're either gonna, it doesn't work. Like the stakes are so lowered so much.
They need to explain it's just the same as if you left Scientology. It's leaving a cult, and then your family's not supposed to talk to you anymore. I mean, yeah. So Pepsi brings Portia and Giselle some spicy KFC. And Leah sits in the confessional room and says she's not into the unequal power dynamic that's going on here, like with everybody ganging up on her. And she likes Candiace because she's an independent thinker and she feels a special bond with her. Also, Candiace is like the only one that's been halfway nice to her. Hey y'all, it's Mary Payne from Pink Shade here. And we watch these shows, and some of the people on these shows are so stressed out and so upset, and there's a lot of crying. And a lot of them have a lot of legit worries, and a lot of them are just maybe high strung. So I'm going to recommend what they use is microdosing, okay? I think it would help a lot of them not be so stressed out. For me personally, I have been using microdosing to help me sleep. I get a lot of stress and worry, and then I stress and worry about sleeping, and then while I'm trying to sleep, I stress and worry about how much sleep I'm not getting. I know everybody can relate to this. So I've been taking half of a microdose gummy at night, just half, and I chew it, and then I get my teeth brushed, I wash my face, and I get in bed, and I feel relaxed enough to actually go to sleep and get my mind to simmer down. I think a lot of people on our shows that we watch could really benefit from this as well. Microdosing has a lot of benefits, not just what I'm using for, which is sleep. It's great for, like I said, anxiety, but can also be used as a creative boost, help people with pain when they have it, helping you with your workout and recovery, and even, dare I say, sex. Microdose is available nationwide. You can learn more about microdosing THC. You go to microdose.com and use the code PINKSHADE, all one word, PINKSHADE, and you'll get free shipping on your products and 30% off your first order. So if you want to learn more about microdosing THC, you're going to go to microdose.com and use code PINKSHADE, and you're going to get free shipping and 30% off. And links are in the show notes. So have you ever had a Thai massage where they stretch you and do all this stuff to you?
No, I'm a weakling when it comes to, I want the most basic, gentle, loving, sensual massage. I don't like people standing on my back and pulling me like a piece of taffy. It's not for me. My husband would love it, but not for me.
I've never had a Thai massage, but I have heard of these, and they literally like hang from bars on the ceiling and use it. Yeah. So they're getting these massages outside, and some of them are like, oh, we're getting massages like we should be naked. And they're like, no. And Marisol, I think it's Marisol who says, when you get a Thai massage, they really go all over your body. So you really need to have clothes on. People are moaning, and Candiace is like, are we in a bathhouse? Are we in a brothel? They are showing them like getting up in those inner thighs. They were in there.
Yeah.
Giselle and Portia are sitting in the talking head, and Giselle says, the Thai people will try to massage your vagina. And Portia goes, well, I want my money back because nobody tried to massage mine. I mean,
perfect Portia line, beyond.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if I did a massage like that, being in a group, I'd feel a little more safe, because maybe nobody's going to do something weird to me with a bunch of people around. I don't know.
Yeah. It's more of I feel I've had a massage where someone was trying to activate my vagina, and it was crazy. It was one of the craziest experiences of my life. Yes.
No.
What I will say is, this may be too much information, Mary Payne, but
okay.
It was a male masseuse, which I would opt out of going forward, And he was, this is the only way I can describe it, so I'm going to give it to you. And I may be Leah right now. Like, this may be TMI. Okay. But he was using my upper thigh meat to push it up into my vaginals. And if that makes any sense. Like,
your inner upper thigh meat, he was pushing into your vag?
Pushing it in a way that, like, felt like he was trying to activate. Yes! In a very much like repetitive, and it was crazy. And I was like, oh my God, I think it's gonna, like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, am I going? Yeah, it was crazy. It was
Did
crazy.
you say I'm uncomfortable?
No,
Did you say,
I said nothing.
Let's get to those calves?
I said zero. I just said nothing. Yeah.
Well, he was trying to give you a happy ending.
I
And you
think
were like,
he
I didn't pay for that.
And I think he just made an adjustment, or like went to get more hand cream, whatever it was, massage oil, whatever happened. It changed. Everything calmed down and the rhythms changed, and it was like I was back to one. So I was able to just like regroup. But I was in my mind going like, I have to say something. I got to go. I have to leave. I have to. What do I do? What do I say? I was not relaxed.
I would be so stressed.
What wasn't happening was relaxation.
Oh my God. Well, that was a great side story. So Giselle and Heather chat, and Heather says, let's check in with Jen. Like, what time is it there? Pepsi brings them cold towels, which look great. It's midnight in Salt Lake City. So they try to call Jen and she doesn't answer. And in the talking head, they're asking Giselle, like, what are you going to say if you talk to her? Like, you called her a criminal. And she's like, did I call her a criminal? Oh, no. She's going to light me up on Twitter when this comes out. Wait, do they get Twitter in jail? So Jen doesn't answer her. And I do think they get Twitter in jail. So now they're all in workout gear. What did you think of Portia's workout outfit? Would you be able to jog in place in that? I mean, it's just...
I don't know what sort of magic she had holding things in place, but God bless America. She looked great.
She does look great. And she did have a neck fan. I was like, Portia has got the memo that it's hot as shit. She had a neck fan around her neck. So she goes, okay, guys, we're going to the Thai barbecue. You're cooking your own food today. And they're all like, what? So they do the little cooking of the food, which I thought looked kind of fun. And it did look kind of fun. And then Candiace has the biggest napkin corner we've seen to date.
Oh my! Wait, okay. Have you seen what people call it on Twitter?
No, what?
No, I died. I died. They call it a CRYANGLE. A CRYANGLE.
That is so funny.
I have never, like, it's a CRYANGLE and Twitter is undefeated. I mean, how good is that?
That is great. Whoever invented that on Twitter, we can't give you props, but we just know it was a Twitter person. Thank you.
I believe it was a Twitter person, and it's gorgeous. Chef's kiss.
Yes. So she tears up when she's got this huge, huge CRYANGLE. I don't know where she got it from. And she says, Portia, I want to talk to you. It's about the physical altercation I had with Monique. Everything that happened in the aftermath of that was so painful. There were stories in the press that were false and skewed in Monique's favor. And I was just ripped apart. People thought I threw a glass in her face. None of that happened. And then you went on that Bravo's chat room, which is a show that was during the pandemic or whatever, and said that I was suing her for a down payment for my house, which was really hurtful to me because I don't know you and you don't know me. It was defamatory. And Portia goes, I don't know. I was just there for my friend and I was just helping her navigate the situation because I've been in situations like this. And it's not defamatory if she's telling me her facts. And Candiace goes, right, but the facts were wrong. I did not sue her and I don't need help paying for my home. So Whitney goes, hi, so you think it is unfair because you honored your contract and she gave herself a platform to speak on it on chat room. And Giselle says, oh, hold on, because I was on that show. And I used that same platform that Portia had to defend Candiace in that exact moment in real time. And then we see the clips on the show of Portia saying what she said and Giselle hopping right in and talking about it. Like not the next show, but right then.
Right.
So Giselle said, Portia was making Monique's statement for her, but I was making your statement for you. So I was riding for you right then, right there. I was defending you. And I was a witness to the whole altercation. Like Portia wasn't even there. So Giselle goes, I defended her on that show. I defended her in a 7-Eleven when people came up to me, and I defended her in the Whole Foods. I defended her all the time. And if I have to go on a press tour defending you and then you don't appreciate it, then I'm done with you. Because Candiace she doesn't at all say, thank you so much, Giselle. You're right. You did defend me, but I'm still upset about what she just didn't even acknowledge it. So Candiace starts yelling. Portia, you defended that raggedy ass hoe and you read her text statement and it's all just hearsay. And Portia goes, right. So I had hearsay, but Giselle had a firsthand account. So that wasn't hearsay. So that's actually a better witness. And then Candiace goes, excuse me, I have a School of Communications broadcast news degree. And Portia goes,
oh my God, it's funny.
Portia, you can have the degree. She goes, but I have the journalism job. Mm-hmm. And I can use my mouth and talk about it. And Candiace's like, I've had journalism jobs too. Move on. So Marisol, in her talking head with her martini, says,
perfect.
What are they talking about? It's like a fluff opinion show. It's not like investigative reporting. Like, who cares? I was like,
Marisol really, because we were, as I'm watching, I'm getting wrapped up in what they're saying. And then that was such a perfect way to cut all the bullshit and be like, it's a fluff opinion show.
Yeah.
What are we really talking about here?
It wasn't CNN breaking news. Like,
no, I needed that perspective, to be honest.
It was four talking heads. Yeah.
Right.
Kate Chastain in the corner. I mean, okay.
Those are pandemic heads, right. That they are in my head. Like it's just, I watched it. I feel like it was a cute show. No,
I did
didn't cost a dime. I don't know why they're not still doing it, but anyway.
Yeah. And Portia, I thought was great. But I mean, she does radio. So yeah, she knows what she's doing. So they go to play the first game. And so we have, they're going to play a game that's like volleyball, but it elephant suits. And I said, oh my God, I'm sweating watching this. They have to put on plastic elephant suits in addition to already being so damn hot. Oh my God. So there's Team Potomac, there's Team Miami, there's Team Salt Lake, there's Team Leah and Portia together who don't like each other called Poor Leah. And, Leah's like, okay, great, I get it, whatever. Mm-hmm. Portia's competitive, her team wins. Now they have game number 2, tiny hands. They have to shove food in their partner's mouth with these tiny hands. Salt Lake City wins and the Potomac wins because they say Candiace has the biggest mouth there.
I was living and breathing for tiny hands and I wanted to be.
Were you?
I need tiny hands to be on every show, every franchise. I need more tiny hands. Go on.
I have a friend that has one of those tiny hands, and whenever she does anything, like she's at a baseball game, she's at her kid's soccer game, and then she's always like, hey, she always has her tiny hand in the picture.
Stop it.
Always.
She has it with her on her person?
All the time.
At all times? I'm concerned.
So in case there's a photo op, I was like, what's with the tiny hand? She's like, it's just funny.
That's wild.
It's like, I guess it is. I'm talking about it. Game 3, skew it or chew it. So you have to tell the truth or eat a scorpion. Now, what did you think of this, Deanna?
At one point, I was like, are these real scorpions? Because these girls took these scorpions down like they were a little Snickers bar. I was very impressed with how sort of nonchalantly they chomped on these scorpions, I also was confused. I'm like, why? I think it's fair. It was certainly gross. For me, it was like Leah, I don't think she's going to ever be on New York again. So I was confused as to why she would be so
wouldn't
protective.
Answer. Yeah.
It seemed very strange to me. I'm like, either she's delusional and thinks she's going back, which it's not happening. Right. I don't think. Maybe it is.
But it's weird because the question was, who shouldn't come back to RHONJ legacy? So in that case, we're talking Dorinda, Luann, Sonia, Ramona, of course. We're talking about the old Jill Zarin. That's who we're talking about. Bethany. So who of those people
Leah
does she
might
care?
Consider herself. I have to believe it was. Okay, so I do think she got in trouble because she was not supportive of, at least this is what I've heard with the last girl, Ebony.
Vanessa.
She was not supportive of Ebony behind the scenes, is what I heard Ebony say in a podcast.
Weird, because I thought they were friends. Yeah.
Right. But I think when it came to the next, who should be on the next season, Leah kind of threw her under the bus, is what I heard. And I could be paraphrasing, but that's what I have in my brain. So she may have been gun shy from that and not wanted to. And the Ramona was the only other person that was coming to my head that she just didn't want to get into it with Ramona, because Ramona would be the one that she would say. Do you know what I mean?
For sure, she would say, Ramona, she's problematic. She's, allegedly probably racist, whatever. So it's interesting. So she chooses to eat the scorpion rather than answer, who shouldn't come back. They're all like, what? And she just bites off a claw.
No problem.
No problem. Whitney then also chooses to eat a scorpion instead of naming 3 times Heather has lied on camera. Heather's
Whitney she just can't get it right on this show. She just can't. It's tough to watch.
Yeah. And they ask Heather, who gave you the black eye? So she eats scorpion as well. And they go, you said you didn't know. You said you didn't know. So
right. So she knows.
Then the Marisol's asked the question, who do you trust the least? And she's like, oh, Leah. I'm not eating a fucking scorpion. I'll answer Leah. Look at you. I don't like you. So Giselle now tells them, you have 45 minutes to get ready, and they're going to do this Mardi Gras party. Marisol and Alexia go back to their room, and they bitch again about the lack of housekeeping, and they're back and forth about why didn't Pepsi have a person, da-da-da. They both say being in the same room is wearing them down. Yeah. Because that's, Yeah. So now they all get in these get-ups for the Mardi Gras dinner. Some of them have masks, some of them don't. And this is Giselle's dinner. Of course, she's from New Orleans. And in the van, we have Candiace, Leah, Heather, and Whitney. They talk about, is weed legal in Thailand? And it is. They look it up. It is. So I don't know if they're trying to score or what.
I don't know.
In the other van, Portia, Giselle, Marisol, and Alexia say, here's the bottom line. Candiace is a bully. Because they're talking about, the CRYANGLE at the table and all that. And Giselle says, here's the problem. Nothing is good enough with Candiace. You explain something to her, that's not good enough. You backtrack, you get an apology, nothing's good enough for her. I don't necessarily think that's true, but Giselle made a great point last week about Candiace, which is she is not an instigator, but she is a reactor.
And
so it is interesting. React. Yeah, she really reacts. But she did instigate this thing with Portia at the lunch. But it's just like she's trying to, producers in her ear like, hey, here's something to talk about, right?
Right. I mean, I think it probably was weighing on her, like she never met her before. And this was something that was said that really bugged her. So I'm sure she had it in her head that at some point I'm going to let Portia know how I felt. And I think she thought it was going to go differently than it did, Yeah, but I like that she had her CRYANGLE out before she even started talking this time. Usually she creates her CRYANGLE mid, so it was nice that she sort of prepped her CRYANGLE. She's like, oh, I will be crying.
And who was it? Was it Giselle that was like, not a drop? No, it was Portia. It was like, not a drop will touch her cheek.
She catches it all right in there.
Oh my God. So they have beads and they're getting Hurricanes, the drink that you get like at Pato's or whatever. No alcohol for Leah, extra for Marisol, because Marisol hears them say, this one has no alcohol for Leah. She's like, excuse me, these have alcohol? Like, yes. Yeah. She's fully panicked.
Fully panicked.
They all eat the delicious food and they talk about Mardi Gras traditions. And it starts raining, so they grab the umbrellas. And Candiace burps at the table. And I have to tell you, that upset me as well. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy a man doing that, a woman, a kid of mine specifically, burping at the table. Stop. Right. That's bad table manners.
Don't recall it, so I might have just kept moving. It went over my head, unfortunately.
She fully burps at the table, and Marisol and Alexia speak to each other in Spanish about, oh my God, did you see that lady? That lady, she burps down there. How horrific. What terrible that lady. So funny. So at one point, Marisol says, the water, meaning the rain, the water is getting in my drink. So can't have any dilution.
Jinx.
So they all say, okay, we don't want Marisol's drink to be diluted, so let's go in. So Giselle shows them how they do what's called second line dancing, which is how you dance in New Orleans. It was really,
I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that as well. Yeah. So they go inside. And Giselle says, okay, here's a game we're going to play. I have a podcast, plug, called Reasonably Shady. All right. So we're going to play a game called Reasonably Shady. And because, Robin is reasonable, I'm shady, blah, blah, blah. So the thing comes up, was it bullying Leah on the boat? Was that reasonable? Was it shady? Whitney asks Heather, I have to ask you, Heather, Where are you in your journey of leaving the church?
Oh, God, I can't. It's actually really triggering, your impression. Like, it's bringing me back. It's upsetting. Go on.
Whitney says, to all of you, this seems just like a piece of paper. But for Heather and I, it's leaving behind our whole heritage. And Alexia says, I don't know, because sometimes even though you're not divorced on paper, you left the marriage a long time ago. So I think it's like the same for that. And Heather's like, oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
She gets up, high fives her, And Whitney goes, let me finish. Let me finish. I'm talking.
It's so painful.
So then Heather goes, they go, okay, fine, talk, whatever. And she goes, I just want to support you, Heather, and be there for you when you sign the paper. So in her talking head, Candiace goes, all right, we're on day 4. 4 days of listening to these girls scream about church. Like, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Candiace, I agree.
We all are.
We all agree. So I say, LOL, they cut up the cake. They looked for the baby. They made a king cake without a baby. So it's really not a king cake without the baby.
Was tough.
That was tough. They were literally like pulling it apart with their hands. So they head home in the vans, and Portia goes, every time we go somewhere, Heather and Whitney have this big fight and they do this big thing, but then they get in that van and they sit next to each other. And I just don't work like that. And the other girl's like, I don't work like that either. They all agree. And then they say, I wonder what they're talking about on that bus. Flip to the bus, and Leah goes, so do you like anal? I swear to God, Leah, leave the butt stuff alone.
She can't.
And Heather goes, I have not experienced that. And Whitney goes, I do not recommend it. And Candy says, yeah, it hurt. And when I tried it, I even had a little dick. And that hurts. And Leah goes, oh, really? You didn't like it? I was like, Leah, stop. Remember when she had that big thing with Ramona about eating ass? And Ramona's like, please stop. We're at the dinner table. Like, stop. Yeah. I'm Ramona in this instance. I don't want to hear about this either.
I skeeve Leah's like bodily fluids and her. It's just all too much. I could deal with the anal question without the bloody diarrhea,
that we talked about earlier.
Like I can't do it all, baby girl. Like, you have to give me a break somewhere,
Yeah, you're right. Now they're walking back up the hill, and I am glad that they have now given some of these women slippers to walk up the hill, because the walking up the hill and the hills and the heels.
A housewife. Yeah, hills and the heels.
The healing journey. So, so Whitney goes into the confessional. Now, you remember on seasons 1 and 2, they had like Housewives After Dark, ching, ching, ching. They had that like sexy music.
Oh, yeah.
And people would go in the confessional. Remember, like Jill Zarin was sitting in there, and then Dorinda comes in and is like, you don't even know because we were friends 10 years ago. So they haven't had that. They haven't had Housewives After Dark.
Interesting.
Are they just too tired? They're so tired.
They might be too hot, like to do that. Right. It's just like they're hot. I think they've got Pepsi, and he's so helpful to have that we don't maybe that we don't need it, Right. We're also, maybe it's been like a little bit of filler. I don't know.
Yeah, well, true. So Whitney goes into the confessional and it's like, okay, I have to say it. The 3 lies Heather has told on camera. Number 1, she knows how she got that black eye. And number 2, she was never friends with Lisa Barlow. And number 3, she hasn't left the Mormon church. So the masks are going to come off, and we'll get to the bottom of the lies. I'm Whitney, and this is my confession. Yeah.
I watched it alone, and I said, weak sauce. Like,
yeah, you're so right. I haven't thought about this. You're so right.
Weak. You are just completely out of your element. You cannot hang. It's sad.
You're right. This is not a thought I've had about Whitney on this episode, but you're completely right. She's trying really hard to bring something up to start some shit. She needs to start something with somebody else, because this angle hasn't worked well on day 4. We only got 3 days left. You need to come up with a different angle.
Yeah, and she would do this on her show. Right? She would do this same sort of very awkward presentation of information.
Yeah, right.
On Salt Lake City. Again, it worked better. It was still really clunky, but for some reason, I guess, it's her show. It was we were all this is just so clunky and awkward. And to her credit, I think she isn't piping up that much. Like, I think she knows she's over her skis and she's just trying to do the one thing. But yeah, if it's not working, just have fun. Have fun.
Right. Because Whitney is a good time gal.
She is. Ask Portia about her life. Ask about her daughter. Like, connect in a different way.
You're so
sidle
right.
up to the Miami girls. Find out about their fashion. Something. Something.
I know that they have to plan everything to the hilt. Like, breakfast is this, lunch is this, dinner is this, games are this. They have to have all these events, right, to keep the conversation or to start fights or whatever. Right. But I really just liked, when they were in the Berkshires and they're just sitting by the pool talking. Or same as in Turks and Caicos when they would just lay by the pool and talk. Or I like that because then they are doing what you're saying. They were asking
shooting
Teresa,
the breeze.
Tell me about this new relationship that you're in, or really asking them their opinion on, explain to me why the two of you didn't get along initially with Teresa and Melissa, like really having conversations. It wasn't so every minute is so planned that the only conversations we're getting like that are on these van rides.
Yeah.
And it's only half of them at a time.
Like, I definitely felt it's interesting because for the season 1, I think that was the most probably successful trip so far. Would you agree? I don't know.
You mean as far as like ratings, or you mean as far as people got along?
Enjoyability of watching.
Oh, I would say season 2 gave me a lot of joy.
See, season 2, I felt very claustrophobic on that one location. I did, even though it gave a lot, but I was like, I felt what they felt was like, can we get out of this house?
Yes, totally.
So we have a different thing going on in Thailand, but in Thailand, I'm feeling like I did when I was had a bad summer at 4-H camp, and I went with a group of friends and it just went left. I'm having those feelings like I'm there. I thought it was going to be one thing and I can't leave,
Yeah. You can't escape it.
You can't escape it. But to your point, like, yes, I think they would be good to just sit down and kick it and have some drinks flowing in their pajamas.
Yes.
Yes. I think we need a really relaxed hang to just...
And everything doesn't have to be a question to stir the shit. It could be a real question about like your life. Like the question for you is, like they did with Alexia, like name your best in bed or whatever. You could make like questions like that are kind of funny, that are actually kind of thought provoking, where you could like tell something about your life, tell something interesting, like about the kids or whatever.
You're right. These are all interesting women. Like, they can just sit and have a conversation, and we need drinks, obviously, but we would get somewhere. We don't need this much structure. Yeah,
the only thing that the only thing that's touched on it is when at the elephant place where they had that lunch and they sort of talked a little bit about, they had some emotional conversations. Of course, Candiace with her CRYANGLE. Yeah, but I felt like at least that they were sort of at least being nice, and it wasn't like, psh, I'm out to get you. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Well, look,
I know.
I haven't watched ahead. I'm watching this episode by episode as if it's like Friends on a Thursday night. I'm
that's
really
nice.
Yeah.
I did watch 5. I'm not going to give you any spoilers.
Don't give me any spoilers, but I keep asking people that have watched ahead. I'm like, do we get Housewives After Dark? And they keep saying, no, we're not getting it.
I don't recall any Housewives After Dark. I think that, maybe they want each thing to have its own vibe.
But they did it on
both. Was it in
season
1? Oh.
Yes.
Damn. Well, this is
on 2. They were in the attic with like
the you're on this. Yeah, like this might need to be kicked up to corporate. Like what's going on?
I'm going to mention it at BravoCon. I'm going to put it in the suggestion box.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Payne. I have a podcast. I have a question.
Yeah, you're
what
like,
were you thinking?
Please subscribe to Pink Shade. What were you thinking?
And then I'm like, and if you subscribe to my Instagram, I'll give you a secret piece of information, but you're going to have to show me that you did it first. I got to come up with another secret piece of information to spread around BravoCon this time. Maybe between now and then I'll get a secret piece of information.
Well, can I give you a piece of information that is not based on anything but feelings?
Yeah, please.
Okay. When we were talking about Vanderpump, I have a feeling. It's bold and it's crazy.
Okay.
And it's based on fumes. Okay. Mm-hmm, it's not based on anything. I feel like Tom and Tom had a threesome with Rachel, with Raquel. I feel a threesome occurred.
It is weird that their affair had already started when they were at Sheena's wedding in Mexico, and he still encouraged his buddy to make out with this girl that he was having a full affair with while sleeping with his current girlfriend, Ariana. It's weird that he would encourage that.
I feel like, and this is going to sound bad, but Rachel is in a place in her life where she is feeling her oats. And she's feeling very sexual. There's no one she's not dropping a little bit of something on right now. And I think that she is very available for a threesome with those two. Now, whether they did it or not, but that's what I'm feeling. And I'm just going to throw that out there. Based on nothing. Based on feelings.
I feel like Tom and Tom would not want to see each other in a sexual setting.
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not sure about that, but that's the
vibe you're getting.
Line. Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting. But I wouldn't, if they said somewhere along the line that like Rachel and Ariana and Tom Sandoval had a threesome on a drunken Tuesday, that wouldn't surprise me. But they have been asked. Ariana has been asked point blank, or Sheena has been whatever. They've been asked point blank about that, and they said absolutely not.
Really,
Ariana was never into. No.
Okay.
So we'll see. It's
hard. And more will be revealed.
More will be revealed. And if you're right, I'll have you back on, and we'll give you a trophy.
Thank you, Mary Payne.
But how will we know? Well, someone will have to.
Someone will have to
spill it,
and they will.
There's no way these people keep any secrets at all.
They can't. It's not in their DNA.
Well, Deanna, tell everybody where they can find you. What are you doing next? And then, of course, tell us about the Montage Queen, your business.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you can find me at Deanna M. Cheng. And if you're interested in montages, if you need to celebrate anything, you can find me at the Montage Queen.
Yes.
And there's nothing crazy that I'm doing right now that I can think of, but business is going great. And I've got, birthdays and anniversaries and bat mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs and all that going on. So it's been really fun. Really fun.
You guys, what Deanna does, so if you go to a wedding or some sort of celebration and they put up on a screen the montage with sound, with words, with pictures, with whatever, like that doesn't, you can't just put that together on your iPhone. Deanna is professional and does it for you and makes it like for any special occasion. And all the ones I've seen are just touching. Some might say might cause you a little tear in your eye. Yeah.
We love a tear. We live and breathe for a tear laugh combo is what we're always going for over at the Montage Queen. That is our sweet spot.
Well, everybody find her there. And then you could just look up Deanna Cheng on IMDb and find all the things she's been in. She's an actor.
Make your way.
Yeah. All right, Deanna, I will talk to you later. And thank you very much. And everybody remember to follow us on Instagram as well. And maybe I'll give you a secret piece of information. If you do,
I will give you a secret made up piece of information. All hypothesis.
All right. Thanks, Deanna.
You got it.